nominate Honorable Tajuddin Abbas.
I so second.
I rise to humbly accept the nomination.
Is hereby declared the winner and returned elected as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
It's good to be with you again on another fresh package of House Tickets, your weekly enlightenment package highlighting the activities of lawmakers in the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. In our package this week, the House Committee on Pensions continued with its meetings with pension fund administrators as well as pension fund custodians over the plight of retirees under the contributory pension scheme, especially in the face of the hardship being faced by pensioners in accessing their entitlements. A report on that interactions will come your way in the course of our program. We shall continue with our review series, and for this episode, our focus is on the first motions and bills considered right after the inauguration of the 10th House of Representatives. The program starts off right after this short break. Please stay tuned.
Hi, about that. The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
Welcome back. The House Committee on Pensions, during its resumed hearing on Tuesday, 17 September 2024, met with some of the pension fund administrators as well as custodians for the second time, in order to address some major concerns raised by the committee in earlier sittings. One of such concerns is the corporate social responsibility, CSR, carried out by the PFAs to retirees as well as Nigerian workers. They made their presentations.
As well as part of our initiatives as pension managers is also to look at our retirees, and we also ensure that at least we organize sensitization, retirees engagement, where we bring our retirees together, sit down with them and discuss with them what their challenges are. Aside from paying them their monthly program withdrawals and all of that, we also look at free access to medicals, also engage with them. And we also intend to have, because we try to segment it, the southeast, the north, and the west. So my head of sales and the global head of sales.
The south, the north, and the west. What of northeast and north central?
Because northeast, we're expanding to northeast, like I told the House.
Okay.
Yes, and we also intend to, with some of the things happening in that region, we're also planning towards something.
Okay.
But like I mentioned, the initiative is such that we can address pensioners in some of these locations.
What we do on CSR, we actually collect waste, plastic and all that. We make the sales, and we also add more money to sponsor some children, school children in Lagos, Owosoroki and area. Then in addition, we are also having initiative on. Okay, that's just one of the initiatives, sir.
Micro pension products. How far so far?
The hearing continued with more interactions, even as lawmakers took turns to ask questions.
These micro pension products. How far so far?
The initiative is good. I appreciate the fact that it has a lot of benefits. You have access to free free medical incentives that comes with that, which of course will help people to have free health, you understand, and also microcredit as well. These are the small initiatives that can support people out there, you know. So those are the things that we looked at and also had to support them.
Do you look at the needs of the society before you raise an issue of corporate social responsibility, or you just sit with your management at the top cadre and look at that, what they need, and you pose that as corporate social responsibility? Because I don't see any relationship employees going for golf tournament. Some people that are looking for just something to survive on.
For the golf, you mentioned, interestingly, I wasn't there when it happened, but I think from when I came in and asked, I realized that the institution then was looking at reaching out to the market in terms of sales, you know, in terms of HNIs, in terms of RSA holders in companies in those institutions where, of course, the board and the senior members, you know, meet. So the essence was to reach out to those institutions, you know, those companies that have staffs and their members are there. Like I said, we are focused on the market. You know, there are micro credits, micro health, micro pension initiatives, and also the initiative for retirees. You know, is something that, for me, I think it touches the heart of the people. You know, that's why we in Radix now we're looking at those kind of initiatives, you know, that would touch the lives of people.
Mention other initiatives. You said just one. How many initiatives do you have on Sierra?
All that we have is a sensitization we're doing on this scheme. We've done in Kaduna. Yeah, my colleague, if you permit me, can share more lights on that, sir.
Other initiatives we've done is also doing medical services for the elderly. We actually did one in Kaduna State, that was in April 2024. Because we are part of a group where we leverage on the product offerings of our group to actually provide support.
Which group is that?
Tangerine Group, sir.
Huh?
Tangerine Group.
Oh, okay.
So we provide medical services for the elderly. We did that in Kaduna State. That was actually publicized in the local media in Kaduna. We also have some planned for Abuja and Lagos in October.
Your CSR, how do you report it in your financials if you are doing a group thing? Again, when you mention the fact that you have done recycling for these scholarships, I expect that when I open, I'll see pictures, I'll see evidence, and so on and so forth. It's just paper. Anybody can write this and submit.
For example, we bring in 2 million. Tangerine Insurance will bring 2 million and all that. So in my own book, I will only report 2 million. But we've been able to spend 10 million for that process. And that is that's how we come together to spend on that shared service expenses.
What have you done, Tangerine, to create awareness of the CPS down to the people at the communities, at the grassroots, to understand the working? Because a lot of people are not aware or have limited information about the workings of the CPS. So, of course, operators are doing theirs, other PFAs, PFCs, and the rest are doing theirs. What is Tangerine? What have you done, or what are you doing in sensitizing people? Aside your zone, I mean Lagos State, where your head office is, what have you done in other parts of the country?
Lagos, Abuja, all the other states. So, and also in addition, we're also opening more branches based on what, even on this geopolitical zone, we're opening more branches, and that we have commenced. We have even opened additional 6. We are opening more to get down to the roots, to the people.
The hearing then continued behind closed doors.
Please, members of the press and others can leave for now.
In another development, a delegation from the House of Representatives, led by former House Leader, Right Honorable Alhassan Ado Doguwa, on Tuesday, 17th September 2024, visited Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, to commiserate with the government and people of Borno State following the devastating floods that affected several communities. The delegation of lawmakers from the House, representing all 6 geopolitical zones. During the visit, the delegation announced a donation of 100 million naira on behalf of the House of Representatives to the government and people of Borno State to provide immediate relief to flood victims and assist in recovery efforts. Speaking during the visit, leader of the delegation, Right Honorable Alhassan Ado Dogwa, expressed the House's deepest sympathies. He further highlighted the House's united support, noting that the 100 million naira donation was a collective contribution from all honorable members of the House, reflecting the national spread and bipartisan nature of the gesture. Representative Ado Dogwa also emphasized the National Assembly's commitment to ensuring long-term solutions to flood disasters across the country. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, while receiving the delegation, commended the House of Representatives for its swift response to the crisis. The delegation also paid a courtesy visit to the palace of the Shehu of Borno, His Royal Highness Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbe Al-Amin Al-Kenemi, where they reiterated their commitment to supporting the people of Borno in rebuilding and recovering from the flood's devastation.
The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
You are still watching House Tickets, and before the break, we brought you a report of the interactions between the House Committee on Pensions with the PFAs as well as PFCs over the plight of retirees in order to access their entitlements. We will now proceed with our review of past happenings, highlighting some of the earliest motions raised and considered by the 10th House. Some of the initial motions entertained by the House focused on infrastructural development, while others called for investigation into issues of public concern. Let's take our next report, reviewing some of the motions, bills and petitions that characterized the early days of the 10th House. Keep watching.
One of the very first motions entertained by the 10th House was moved by Representative Aliu Bapamisau. It came under matters of urgent public importance to draw attention to a heavy windstorm, downpour and flood that affected his constituency.
On the Sunday, 14th May 2023, there was a heavy windstorm, downpour at Misau Town, which led to a serious disaster. The concern here is that as a result of the heavy windstorm, that led to the destruction of about 2,000 houses in my constituency, Misau Town, and subsequent heavy downpour leading to partial submerging of some houses, farmlands, shops worth millions of naira in different parts of the town is affected. Further concern that the access road linking various villages on the El Dorado bypass equally destroyed. My worry here that the displaced people of my constituency are now stranded and still roaming on the street like refugees in their own land, without livelihood, shelter, other basic human needs, such as a result of disaster, while some are now temporarily residing in public buildings such as schools and mosques.
In his prayers, the lawmaker called on NEMA to assess the level of damage and urgently provide relief materials to the affected victims, as well as assist in rehabilitating them. Direct the Ministry of Environment and government agencies saddled with the responsibility of rainstorm, flood, erosion control to provide a permanent solution, and urge NEDC to provide relief materials to the victims, as well as design and construct drainages where necessary. The motion was voted on and adopted and was referred to the relevant committee of the House. Another matter of urgent public importance was on the need to rehabilitate some roads in Ukanafun local government area of Akwa Ibom State. It was moved by Representative Idem Onyime.
The House notes that the Ikot Akbankuk, Njariba, Usongotiats, Ikot Akbaidem, Ikot Rombang Road in the Ukanafun local government area of Akwa Ibom State plays a paramount role in the economic development of the Ukanafun communities, the environs, and by extension, the neighboring states. Also notes that the road has been in a dilapidated state over the years, thus requiring urgent government intervention. Aware that the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, under its emergency intervention program, commenced the rehabilitation of about 2.8 kilometer Ikot Akpaidem, Ikorobankuk, Nyariba, Usongotiat, Ikorobaidem, Ikorombang Road in Okanafun in 2022, but abandoned less than halfway.
The motion had only one resolution, which was to urge the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing to urgently complete the roads. The motion, being infrastructural in nature, was not debated.
The ayes have it.
As a result of the subsidy removal,
Representative Sani Madaki Aliu also moved a motion on the urgent need to implement palliative measures to mitigate the effects of fuel subsidy removal on Nigerians.
as a result of the subsidy removal, the official pump price of petroleum skyrocketed from initial as the price varied between states. Concern that the implication of over 200% price adjustment in fuel prices is that nearly all prices of goods and services have drastically increased. Also concern that the sudden fuel subsidy removal has left millions of Nigerians terrified, thus causing untold hardship as Nigerians grapple with the challenges of meeting up not only with the high cost of petrol, but also the consequent increase in prices of goods and services.
The House resolved to urge the federal government, as a matter of urgency, implement palliative measures to mitigate the effects of fuel subsidy removal on Nigerian citizens, mandate the Committee on Labour, Employment and Productivity, when constituted, to ensure compliance and report back within 2 weeks for further legislative action. Another motion from the order paper that the House considered was on the need for the control of persistent gully erosion in a community in Enugu North and Udi local government area of Enugu State. The motion was moved by Representative Sam Chimaobi.
The adverse effects of erosion in these roads have long been ignored, and if not checked, will cut off the roads. Worried that Ugwoyama 9 Mile Road has remained a death trap, resulting to loss of life, goods and services worth millions of naira on a daily basis as a result of frequent accidents on the bad portion of the road, which has not been completed. Cognizance of the provisions of Section 2, 1 and 2 of the National Environmental and Soil Erosion and Flood Control Regulation 2011, which will help guide script for the urgent measure that needs to be taken to curtail the ravage effect of erosion in this area and further extend to the entire Southeast region.
The resolutions were to urge the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, FEMA, to complete the reconstruction of the roads to prevent total collapse of the road. Also urge the Federal Ministry of Environment and other relevant agencies to take holistic and systematic approach in containing the gully erosion menace in the area, and mandate the Committee on Environment, FEMA and Works, when constituted, to investigate the threat posed by gully erosions along the road and recommend long-term solution. Some lawmakers proposed amendments to the resolution of the motion.
I think you should add Ecological Fund Office, since Ecological Fund Office is in charge of gully erosion. That's my amendment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I wish to further amend the prayers of this motion to include that these relevant agencies, inclusive of FEMA, the Ecological Fund Office, and Federal Ministry of Environment.
The motion was adopted as amended.
So the ayes have it.
Some other motions entertained by the 10th House in its first 2 months of sitting include need to address the destruction due to flooding in some communities in Kosofe Federal Constituency of Lagos State, sponsored by Representative Kafilat Ogbara. The urgent need to check the incessant increment in the price of premium motor spirit (PMS) by the NNPC, sponsored by Representative Ikiagwonu Ogochinyere. Urgent need to investigate incidents of the supply of contaminated aviation fuel that causes safety hazards to travelers within the Nigerian aviation sector, sponsored by Representative Abdul Rahim Olawuyi. Need to investigate the non-remittance to the National Housing Fund and utilization of the fund from 2011 to date, sponsored by Representative Zakaria Inyampa. Fuel tanker explosion in Ondo State, sponsored by Representative Ayodele Festus. Need to support discharged National Youth Service Corps members in transitioning to the labor market, sponsored by Representative Mohammed Mukhtar among several others.
Go ahead and lay the petition.
Lawmakers also presented several petitions for investigation by the 10th House. One of such was brought to the floor by Representative Kelechi Nwogu. It was a complaint against officers of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency on the killing of the complainant's 2-year-old son and serious injuries to his second son.
It is with utmost sadness and heartbreak that I bring to your notice and that of our distinguished members a petition on the gruesome killing of my son, 2-year-old Ivan Omori, and serious injuries on my second son, 1-year-old Erumisela Omori, by men of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLA, in Asaba State, in Asaba Delta State. I'm submitting this petition, Mr. Speaker, on behalf.
Another petition laid before the House by Representative Akin Rotimi was on behalf of the legal representatives of military officers who complained that despite the abolition of the BSc-HND dichotomy, they are still subjected to biased treatment in respect to promotion exercises.
Despite the abolition of the HND-BSc dichotomy in the military and paramilitary agencies since 2016, these particular officers have been denied career progression, and this has great implications on morale of these officers.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to lay a petition.
Still on petitions, Representative Salman Idris laid a petition against the ECOWAS Court of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to lay a petition from a constituent by name Barrister Obasaju Stephen, who has been denied his severance package after completing his 4-year tenure as the professional legal assistance at the ECOWAS Court of Justice, Abuja.
These petitions, alongside others, were referred to the House Committee on Public Petitions for investigation and recommendations to the House. On bills, over 300 bills were read for the first time in the first 2 months of the 10th House. Some of them are Investments and Securities Bill, sponsored by Representative Aminu Balele, Chartered Institute of Business Administration of Nigeria Establishment Bill, sponsored by Representative Alex Egbona, Closed Circuit Television Compulsory Installation Bill, sponsored by Representative Awaji Inombek Abiante, and Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill, sponsored by Representative Mariam Onwoha.
It's been a rewarding half hour with you, during which we brought you updates on the ongoing meeting with PFAs and PFCs by the House Committee on Pensions. We also reviewed some of the earliest motions, bills and petitions of the 10th House. Let us do this again next time. Thanks for watching, and remember that you can follow House Tickets on our social media handles showing on your screen. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.